Since man has possessed written language, man has sought to document secret knowledge. Spells, rituals, summonings and invocations. Condemned as espousing evil and being against natural law, many of these books have been pushed underground, their usage reserved for an elite group of magical practitioners. On occasion, these texts surface and are exposed to study and even practice. Be under no illusion, the books described hereafter are real, and whilst the consequences of reading them and following their instructions are not known, may be very dangerous indeed. In the Abrahamic faiths, the Israelite King Solomon is revered for his wisdom. A figure of great judgment and ambition, he is also known as the king who built the first temple of Jerusalem. In certain circles, Solomon's wisdom is rumoured to have expanded beyond the earthly, with ancient texts claiming that he, on account of being gifted a magical ring by the archangel Michael, had the power to summon and command demons. The ability to speak with jinn, the Islamic equivalent of demons, is regarded as one of Solomon's God-given gifts in Islamic tradition, and according to the Jewish Talmud, the building of the Temple of Jerusalem was only possible through Solomon's enslavement of the prince of demons, Ashmedai. Across the centuries, it could be said that those with an interest in the mystical arts have cultivated an obsession with Solomon's legendary abilities. As such, there have been many attempts to replicate the means by which he was supposedly able to summon demons. In the 16th century, a Dutch physician by the name of Johann Weyer published a text which claimed to contain the names of 69 of the demons known to Solomon, as well as the rituals one could perform so as to command them. Weyer had long been a firm believer in magic, having studied under a renowned magician and occult writer of the period, and writing other texts on the subjects of demonology and witchcraft. His later text, Pseudo-Monarchia Daemonum, or the False Monarchy of Demons, is regarded by modern scholars as his attempt to insult those who sought to summon demons. And yet, the source material which Weyer references, as well as his own warnings contained within the manuscript, suggest that there is more to the text than a simple false catalogue of demonic beings. Rather, in the centuries since its original publication, Pseudo-Monarchia Daemonum has inspired the publishing of other magical books and grimoires, as well as providing a handbook for practitioners in pursuit of mastery of darkness. Even Weyer himself concludes by writing that those profane magi who perform the rituals contained within his text are the worst kind of refuse and dregs of the earth, and are therefore deserving of whatever punishment or ill fate they suffer as a consequence of their summonings. One of the most unsettling passages in Weyer's text can be said to be that which refers to Ammon, a great and mighty Marquis of Hell who is said to govern 40 legions. Like all of the demons referenced in the text, the description of Ammon is both precise and terrifying. Possessing the ability to change form, this demon can both appear as a wolf with a serpent's tail which vomits flames of fire, and as a man with dog's teeth and a great head like that of a mighty raven. Described as the strongest prince of all other, what makes Ammon especially dangerous are his alleged abilities to answer questions regarding all things past and to come, and to procure favour and reconciliation from whomever the summoner commands, which makes invoking and enslaving this demon a tempting prospect to many power-seeking sorcerers. All the more terrifying are the detailed instructions contained at the end of the text, which outline the hours wherein principal devils may be bound, to wit raised and restrained. According to Weyer, when the reader is ready to perform such a summoning, you must know your chosen demon's name and office. You must also fast and be clean from all pollution 3 or 4 days before. After this, you must make a circle and call up the spirit with great intention. The reciting of your own name, it is said, will allow your purpose to take effect. It is not difficult to perceive why the inclusion of your own name within a demonic summoning might be dangerous, with some warning that such a ritual could end with you, perhaps even inadvertently, selling your soul to the demon which you sought to control. Far from empowering a would-be sorcerer, the rites contained within Pseudo-Monarchia Daemonum might just make one disempowered and forever bound to one of the demons of hell. In the middle of the 13th century, King Alfonso the Wise of Castile ordered a translation of a reputedly powerful Arabic text on magic and spells. The manuscript's translation was subsequently known as the Pikatrix. Originally written by an Arabic scholar in the 10th or 11th century as a composite work of earlier texts on magic and astrology, it has since earned for itself a terrifying reputation, so much so that even to this day the original Arabic version is feared. One rumoured account of evil being associated with the book in recent times comes from Algeria. Allegedly, a graduate student in Islamic history had returned home to a village 40 kilometers outside Algiers after her aunt died. It is claimed that amongst her deceased relatives' belongings was an original Arabic copy of the book. Incredibly excited to have found such a relic that aligned with her studies, she immediately began studying it. After a few days, it is purported that the student attempted one of the simpler rituals in the book. As she performed the ritual, growling snarls of jackals were said to have been heard by her mother in another part of the house, who, in a state of great panic, ran to her daughter's room, only to find her in the midst of what looked to be an epileptic fit. Her eyes were crossed and her tongue had been bitten very hard. Not only that, she was wearing her clothes inside out, with no recollection of what had happened. Terrified, the mother burned the book. Stories such as these are not uncommon when it comes to those attempting to replicate the rituals in the Pikatrix. After all, according to the book, one can conjure destruction upon the world through the use of astrology and intent. Talismans are accorded a special significance. They are said to bring love, wealth, food and happiness to your life. However, they can also be used to harm others. The Pikatrix states that a talisman is infused with a spirit whose inherent purpose is domination, because its essence is coercion and control. To make a talisman is a special task. The materials used must be specific to the purpose. Equally, the time that it is made must be related to its target. One of the more unsettling instructions found in the book describes how to create a talisman with the power to liquidate an enemy. The text explains how to inscribe two pictures relating to one's enemy at two different times which astrologically relate to them. If crafted correctly, the text claims that you can request that your enemy be destroyed, and he will be destroyed immediately. Other similarly evil rituals inform the reader as to how to expel a person from a place, how to bind someone to your will, and even how to destroy a city. With such potentially calamitous magical instructions contained within, it is then perhaps no surprise that many fear the contents of the Pikatrix. The Golem is an artificial creature of Hebraic lore. Made of mud and brought to life through a magic rite, it is said that whosoever controls a golem can command it to perform any task, from innocuous household chores to acts of revenge to the bringing of war. A golem is, in short, a creature created to be a slave of its master. In the Middle Ages, many scholars dedicated themselves to demystifying the golem, most especially through the study of the Book of Formation, one of the earliest known books on Jewish mysticism. One such scholar was Eliezer of Worms, who, in the course of his experiences as a rabbi and mystic, wrote a commentary on select passages from the Book of Formation relating to the creation and animation of a golem. The secret to making a golem, his commentary claims, is in the ritualistic manipulation of the Hebrew alphabet, most especially those letters which spell the names of God. It is thought that by uncovering one of the hidden names of God, life can be given to the artificial form of the golem. Eliezer also wrote that in order for the ritual to be successful, one must be purified, must wear white clothes, and must not be alone but with 2 or 3 people. Only then can the act of creation begin. According to his commentary, once you are pure and ready, you must gather virgin earth from a place in the mountains that has never been ploughed. Next, place this earth under running water and shape it into the form of a man. This will be the golem. What follows are complex and detailed instructions relating to the ritualistic arranging of 2-letter combinations in a certain pattern, so as to assign them to each limb of the golem. Once the ritual is complete, it is said that the golem will come to life. Far from simply being a dark fairy tale, many do believe in the power of the Book of Formation and this ritual, with several stories relating the consequences of its performance. One such account comes from the 16th century and describes how a rabbi from the Polish city of Helm made a golem and kept it in servitude for a long period. Activated by the holy name and Hebrew word for truth, which was embedded in the golem's forehead, the rabbi eventually decided to destroy the creature. It is said he feared that as it continued to grow larger and larger, the golem would one day destroy the universe. Despite being born into servitude, the golem, it is claimed, reacted badly to the rabbi's intention. As the rabbi tried to remove the holy name from the golem's forehead, the creature supposedly began to rebel against his master in an attempt to preserve his life. So much so that the rabbi was injured in the struggle, being left with a scar on his face. Ultimately, however, the rabbi was successful. Once the holy word was removed, the golem disintegrated and returned to dust. Another story from late 16th century Prague describes how a golem that was originally made to protect people turned monstrous, and, no longer bound to his creator, went on a murderous rampage. Eventually, the creature was immobilized when the paper containing his activating word was removed from his mouth. Such stories highlight the potential danger of trying to create a golem. It would seem that independent life is simply too strong, and that the manipulation of free will to bind another living thing to your own intention will more often than not end badly, regardless of how carefully the instructions in the commentary on the Book of Formation are followed. The prophet Moses is known to hold a prominent position in all of the Abrahamic religions. Yet, little is known about a series of magical books attributed to him. In the 19th century, archaeologists found a collection of papyri in Egypt dating from 100 BC to 400 AD. Amongst the collection were many magical texts, one of which was titled the 8th Book of Moses. It seemed to suggest that it was transcribed from a much earlier work, a work written by the prophet himself. The book's authorship has been contested, with many claiming it to have been an invention of the time and not based on an earlier work by Moses. And yet some scholars, experts in manuscripts of ancient Egypt, believe that the language in the papyrus may indeed hail from ancient Egypt, and as such could date to the time of Moses. Shockingly, within this mysterious book, there are instructions for the summoning of a god. Which god, the text claimed, cannot be known until they appear before you. When the god enters, the manuscript states that they shall speak their name, at which point the participant should look down and write what is said. Names have held powerful significance since ancient times, especially in Judaism, where traditional belief dictates that the names of God should not be pronounced. Writing down the name of the god is thus thought to give the one initiating the ritual power over that god. The book then goes on to state what should be done when the deity is in the room. Do not stare at his face, it implores. Look at his feet, beseeching. You are then instructed to ask the question, Master, what is fated of me? According to the text, the god will then tell you, and if it is bad, you can ask it to cancel or avert your fate, and they will do that for you. In fact, once under your control, the deity can do anything. If done correctly, the one performing the ritual is claimed to be able to use the name of the deity beyond the confines of this encounter. They are alleged to be able to go invisible, expel demons, heal the sick, command snakes, and much more. Of course, as one might expect for such a dangerous and high-profile summoning, this ritual requires an enormous amount of personal and material preparation. Even animal sacrifices are required. As such, some who have commented on this ancient ritual believe that it should never be attempted by novices. Indeed, the text itself frequently stresses the need to be subservient and thankful for the summoned deity's presence, implying that a high level of fear is warranted. What can go wrong is not specified, but in the presence of a deity that can do anything, misfortunes can be as infinite as the benefits one can receive. Before we explore our final book, I'd like to take a moment to talk about membership to my Quill and Ink Society, and an exciting new perk which is now available. As I'm sure many of you know, I have been running my membership platform for several years, tweaking and expanding it as this channel has grown. One of our biggest achievements to date has been the release of In Search of the Dead, my feature documentary film on life after death. Not only did members help to fund this project, they were also at the forefront of helping to identify people and places to include in the film, with many members getting early access to the finished documentary as testers. Unlimited streaming of In Search of the Dead is now one of the many perks available to Society members. And so, in celebration of over 5 years of community and support for my paranormal research, I'm excited to reveal a new Patreon exclusive member reward, Quill and Ink Society membership badges. Excellently made and beautifully finished, these badges incorporate the Paranormal Scholar logo and are precisely what any good, eccentric, esoteric society should have for its members to subtly show off. Each badge also comes with its very own personalised, signed and stamped certificate of authenticity. These are available to all Patreon members, regardless of tier, once you reach a certain pledge threshold. So please, if you are a member and haven't done so already, make sure you have updated your shipping address so I can get these sent to you. And if you are not a member, why not visit my Patreon page, the link to which is in the description, and see if this is something you'd be interested in. As well as getting access to In Search of the Dead and these new badges, members also help to choose which videos I make by voting in regular topic polls. This video, for example, was chosen by members. So a big thank you to everyone who has supported me, both members and otherwise, over the years. I hope you love these badges just as much as I do, and I cannot wait to get them sent to you. And with that, on with the video. Within the Bavarian State Library in the German city of Munich, there is a medieval Latin grimoire which is believed to hold incredible power. The grimoire, called by some the Necromancers Manual, is composed of many magical texts and is thought to have been written in the first half of the 15th century by a number of scribes. Within its pages there are said to be instructions for an invocation of such power that the consequences may be apocalyptic. Terrifyingly, the grimoire holds instructions for summoning Satan himself. In the text, Satan is referred to as Mirage, alluding to a biblical passage which refers to the devil as Mirage most wicked. In order to perform the diabolical ritual, it is written that the participant needs to invoke Jesus Christ, all of the angels, saints, prophets, patriarchs, apostles, and the celestial army so as to assist in the binding of the devil. With the aid of these heavenly forces, the grimoire states that the participant shall be able to adjure, conjure, bind, fetter, admonish, and finally exorcise Satan. I abjure you, part of the ritual reads, ancient serpent, by the judge of the living and the dead, to do quickly whatever I tell you. I adjure and bind and admonish you, Mirage, to obey me without hindrance. Once Mirage has been subdued, anything, it is claimed, can then be commanded by the participant. As is found in similar occult rituals, one of the first powers given after such invocations is the ability to become invisible. After that, it is said that the participant may have Satan and his hellish minions bring them treasure and generally do whatever the invoker wishes. In other words, the one doing the ritual becomes the king of hell on earth. As one might expect, the ritual is extreme in its length. Many celestial as well as infernal entities are invoked, and much of the invocation is spent stressing to Satan how he should not bring harm or injury onto the body or soul of the participant, now and forever. Such words illustrate that those who wrote this summoning felt that the consequences could be so dire that they may damn the participant to eternal punishment at the hands of Satan. After all, this summoning does not seek to bargain with the devil, but rather to outright dominate him. A task so dangerous that many would argue only the foolish or arrogant would pursue. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe for more of the paranormal. And if you would like to access more content and be involved in deciding the videos I make, please consider becoming a member of my Quill and Ink Society, with Patreon members receiving an exclusive membership badge and certificate. Thank you so much to everyone who already supports my work as a member. It is truly appreciated. Until next time.